All hail zero hedge. All hail zero hedge. I'm telling you, it's one of my favorite sites of all. They are one of the best researchers on the face of the earth, and they'll even present stuff to you. Oh, when we said this here, 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 and here, and it's going back to articles 3, 4, 5 years ago. Nailed what is now happening, that kind of stuff. I love it. I can't go back for the life of me 2,700 plus YouTube videos. Oh, you know what I said in 2013? Sorry, not happening. But my brain tells me, you know, I'm pretty sure I did a video on that, and I may have, said this or that or whatever. It's about as good as you can get with me. I got too much going on in this little brain right here and everything else to do that. But why do I have to when I have the phenomenal tool known as Zero Hedge and some of the other websites that I read from? So we keep talking about housing, right? Debt bubble, housing bubble, all these bubbles. America, Canada, and Australia. The top three we keep hearing about. The EU's got some issues too, but boy, oh boy, do we keep hearing about Canada and Australia and America. And this is for my Aussie friends. Listen, if any of you Aussies ever see Mick Dundee, Crocodile Dundee, just tell him Jason at 4 says what's up. Love the old, remember the old Crocodile Dundee? Is that any good? Nah. Needs garlic. Love it. Australians, well, first of all, what's the title? Stressed Australians struggle with record debts as housing market overheats. Wait a minute. You could say Americans struggle with record debts as housing market overheats. You could say Canadians, especially in Toronto, struggle with record debts as housing market overheats. And speaking of personal debt, I thought I sent myself a link to do a video on this a while back, and I just said, I'm not doing it. Whatever happened got thrown in the old waste bin, if you will. And it was about the debt level of Canadians compared to Americans, and they're taking the cake right now, which is pretty interesting. But Australians are dialing back their spending on everything from clothes to cars to sky-high housing costs, the result of a housing bubble fueled by Chinese buyers. Same story in Canada. Threatened to finally derail the country's twin asset bubbles, housing and stocks. But rising mortgage debt isn't the only thing squeezing Australian consumers or customers, as Reuters reports. Inflation on the essential items like food, electricity, and insurance are accelerating, meaning Australians are also now paying higher prices for basic consumer goods. But see, in America, what they do in Australia, inflation, we don't have any inflation here. We have the most beautiful benchmark inflation, exactly where the Fed wants it. That's what they say they have. But electricity, insurance, and items like food, our Fed doesn't look at that. We don't look at those stats. That's not how we determine inflation. We look at how many toenails Americans clipped last week, and how many we thought they should have clipped, and how many they actually clipped, and that gives us our inflation number. Or they'll just grab a magic 8-ball, shake it. Are we right around 2% magic 8-ball? We've got a press release here at the Fed. FOMC minutes about to be released. Are we at our 2% goal? It is decidedly so. Yeah, good. Let's roll with the press release. But electricity is expensive. Food's getting more expensive. Did you not just hear what my magic 8-ball said? FOMC minutes. Get ready. Inflation is right within our target area. Everything's good. No inflation in America that you would expect. By the way, don't look at energy costs, food costs, and insurance. Don't look at those, because that's, that'll show there's a lot of inflation. Anyways, back to Australia. While sky-high home prices are, in part, responsible for Australians' record debt, a sudden drop in valuations would only exacerbate the problem by squeezing those who paid a premium for their homes when the market was at or near the top. Many of these buyers are now saddled with high mortgage payments and little equity in their homes. And again, like my last video, even if there was a lot of equity in their homes, but they still bought the McMansion priced house, even though it's not a McMansion, and again, assuming they still had some equity, you can't touch it But our numbers say that we're the wealthiest we've ever been in this country, in America. We are the wealthiest related, versus income to wealth, whatever, than previous generations of Americans. We're all-time high. So it's like me handing you, let's say this little recorder thing was a, super duper rare, gold nugget found somewhere, ancient shipwreck, and it was worth, a lot of money. And $500,000. And your house is $400,000. So this is $500,000. Your house is $400,000. You could pay off your house with this and have a cool $100,000 in cash to play with. You want to get some cryptos. You want to buy some precious metals. Even though this is a precious metal, but this is like an artifact. You could sell it, buy some bullion, or go on a little vacation, whatever. Use some of your wealth. You're wealthy. But you can't touch this. It has a value. The value is $500,000, but you can't touch it for 40 years. Like the stock market, 401k. And then you can use it. So I'm rich on the last video. I'm rich on paper. I have it. I can touch it, but I can't do anything with it. Correct. So I'm still going to struggle to pay my bills. Correct. Food prices are rising to make it even harder. Correct. I'm probably going to have to get into more debt, credit cards because of these things. Correct. But on paper, you got this. Wow. Boy, they can sure fool us, can't they? Quote, we are seeing a considerable spike in stress, even in more affluent households. Even in more affluent households. That, for JSNP4 speak, middle class to upper middle class, okay? Upper middle class. Not even middle class, upper middle class. We are seeing a considerable spike in stress, even in the more affluent households. Why? They got to have more money than the rest of us. They're affluent. Large mortgages, oh. Big commitments, oh. But no income growth, oh. Said digital finance analytics principal Martin North. Stressed households are less likely to spend at the shops, which acts as a drag anchor on future growth. Correct. Only people who are winning, who you making that mortgage payment to? The bank. The bank. So does the bank win? Well, possibly, but the interest rates are so low. Are they really winning that much? Well, nonetheless, they're the ones getting the money. It's kind of like the shop owner who has, 5 or 10 shops all in a little, walkway here for you. It's in a great part of town, right on the corner of a very busy avenue. He is getting top dollar. Speaking of top dollar, I got to tell you a gay story. I've already told you guys this my long-term subscribers. But when I hear the word top dollar, it brings me back to a point in time of a funny gay story that I've got to tell you. When I used to work on cars, this gay man came in. I mean, flaming gay. I'll tell you that. But it's the same thing as a shop, and everyone's paying these outrageous prices, somewhere down in New York City. And all the extra profit, they're charging money hand over fist for all the products, way more than you should ever be spending in the stores. But you're doing it anyways because you're stupid cheap. And the guy who wins, the landlord. So one guy wins, the landlord wins. Well, the one landlord can't spread all that money around and go to this shop and go to that shop and go to that shop and stimulate the economy with everybody else. No, it requires a healthy middle class getting some money in there. This is the same kind of thing. Banks, you're making these huge mortgages to the banks. Therefore, all these people in these houses don't have too much disposable income, which means they can't spread the love where they'd like to. I'd like to go out to eat, or I'd like to go to the shop. I'd like to, ain't got the money, honey. Honey, we ain't got the money. If you got your money, honey, we got your disease. Welcome to the jungle. I'm going to tell you the story at the end, the gay story. Let's just continue. North estimates that a record 52,000 households risk default in the next 12 months. Again, this is Australia. And that 23.4% of Australian families are under mortgage stress, meaning their income does not, I repeat, does not cover ongoing costs. That compares with about 19% just a year ago. It's a pretty big jump, friends. People are up to their ears in mortgages, said Brad Smith, a car sales consultant at Motorpoint Sydney, which has seen a stark slowdown in sales in the past 6 months. Again, is it just because cars are expensive? No. We don't have the money to buy them. That's why the inventories are piling up too in the auto zone. Not the get on the zone, auto zone. I mean the auto zone as in the auto industry. They are all on a budget. Everyone's got all their money in houses. That's how it is. For an economy that has achieved a remarkable winning streak, it has avoided a recession for more than 25 years. Again, this is Australia. Circumstances are looking bleak. As the housing market slows, we see consumption growth as a major risk amid record low wages growth and ongoing headwinds in discretionary cash flows, Morgan Stanley economist Daniel Blake said. Retail sales have hardly grown in the past few months. Even online sales have slowed, with all major categories including homeware, games and toys, daily deals, and takeaway food shrinking in April. According to the NAB Online Retail Sales Index, car sales have flattened this year after solid growth in 2016, while sales of luxury cars and sports utility vehicles are at a 4-year low. For customers or consumers like Sydney resident Mary Amy Guillermin, there's little play money left after stepping into Sydney's housing market with a 1.4 million 3-bedroom house last month. We thought once we had the house, we could take our foot off the brake a little bit. But now that we have it, I feel even less certain in terms of stability and financial security, she said. So whether we'll end up spending a bit more on clothes and restaurants and going out and what have you, I don't see that happening. Stock valuations have gotten so out of hand that one firm made an extraordinary decision to liquidate its Australia-focused fund and return hundreds of millions of dollars to its clients. Remember that one we did talk about the other day? So, anyways, that's it. So let me tell you this little story. And I can kind of, I can do a pretty good gay impression. I'm just going to say that. I'm not gay, complete heterosexual, if you will. But I'm going to give you a good little flaming gay man for the part of this little story. So I started working on cars, learning how to, around 1995. I went on a hands-on, on-the-job training thing, and I still talk to him. He's my old boss. I talked to him the other day. His mom passed away. We're texting and stuff, and he moved to Alabama recently. Good guy, but he taught me everything I knew about fixing cars on the job, and that's how I thought he wanted to be a mechanic, and I'd get my Mustang and soup up my Mustang, young kid, and it was cool. But then I realized this sucks. Filthy, rotten grease all over my hands. People bringing their clunkers. I'm sweating like a pig out here in the shop. I don't like this anymore. So it lasted several years, got into the IT industry. However, there's one instance, and I was actually a service manager there. I came back later, but was a service manager for a while. But I was working on this car, needed an alternator or something. Battery's not charging. The car will ultimately stall out, once the battery's dead. And this guy pulls up into the, driveway or, the front of the bay. And we quickly determined needs an alternator. And so normally what we would do is we would go inside, make a call to Napa or whoever we're using, parts store. Napa was one of them. Hey, I need an alternator for a such and such vehicle. And they'll actually bring it to you. But, they're bringing stuff to other car shops, repair shops too. So, it's kind of like, okay, well, they may stop at 2 or 3 other ones before they get to you. And this guy, he needs his car now. That kind of a thing. So he's like, well, because I had my car there, of course. So he's like, listen, I really can't wait. Is there any way that we can, whoever's the nearest place that has this thing, we can go there, give you guys a little extra money, whatever. Just, I've got to get this done. Let me pay for it. And then you guys just do the labor. I'll pay you a little extra, whatever, if you can just, wherever it is. So, of course, remember old Discount Auto Parts? That's what it was called back then. Now it's called Advanced Auto. Back then it was Discount Auto. And let me tell you something. You got some discounted parts that were cheap, both price and quality. But they've got it in stock. My boss, we were kind of slow at the time. Yeah, you can. I don't mind. Go ahead. You can take them down there. My boss, give me a little wink. Like, yeah, you can take them. Trying to be cute. We would always kid around. Guys. Okay, I'm going to drive him, whatever. So we're we're just kind of making small talk on the way there. And before we get to that store, so how do you like your job? And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's cool. I was in high school. Now I'm out, and graduated. I've been still working here, and I like it, yada, yada, yada. Oh, yeah, what do you think I do for a living? Hairdresser. How did you know that? How did you know? Because you're flaming gay, and you have this crazy hairstyle. Just put two and two together. But I said it so fast, I knew, I shouldn't have said that, because I don't want to tell him how I really guessed it. How did you know that? I was like, I don't know. I just, you have this kind of cool little hairstyle. I thought maybe, yes, I am. So, well, how do you like it? Oh, I love it. It's great, So we get to the store. Oh, I'm sorry. It said we had one in stock. We do not have it. Okay, well, we called, and you said you had it. What are we supposed to do? I'm on this man's time. Well, we have another store that's not far. It's about 3 miles from here. They definitely, because he picked up the phone and called. They have it in stock for sure. I called and I told him to hold it for you guys. Okay, let's go. So I said, don't worry about it. No sweat. Let's go over there. So we go over there. There's like one person at the parts window and one person checking out. That's it. Clearly, no real wait time. He kind of waltzes in there, deadly serious. Excuse me. We're on this man's time and he's top dollar. The other store called you. You have an alternator for us. Oh, here it is, sir. Get in there. He paid for it. We were out. We're on this man's time and he is top dollar. That's the saying. I'll never forget it. So we get back to the shop. It was right on top, the engine, easy fix, 10, 15 minutes fixed. He's back on his way. So he's still there. I'm putting it back on. We're still chatting a little bit, and I don't even know what he's telling me or talking about at this point. I forgot now. But just small talk, and I'm kind of finishing up, and now he's kind of in front of the car, and I'm facing the car, but he's in front of it. We're looking at each other. We're just chatting. I'm done now, and he says something, and a little spit came out. I saw it, but I pretended I didn't see it, and I don't care whether who you are talking to me. A little piece of spit falls in my mouth. I'm not going to even, no, just keep talking like I didn't see anything. Oh. But he couldn't let that ride. I'm like, oh, I'm spitting. So that was the two things I'll never forget. I'm spitting is one. And then the other one, this man, he did this exactly with his hands. This man is top dollar. We are on his time. This man is top dollar. Oh, boy. And I've got some stories for days at that place. Just funny things, that have just happened to different people and incidences and things. It's just one of the funniest things I can think of. Places that I work where stuff was just, for whatever reason, there's some funny stories at that place, man. Oh, God. I could talk for days on that. Some pretty funny stuff. All right. I'm out. On to the next one.